Well, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item would be to call and determine a quorum. Corey, would you do that, please?
Sure. Turner?
Here.
Lale?
Yes.
I'm here. Kinsey? Not here. Baker's here. We have quorum.
Thank you. Next item, recognition of visitors. We have Airport Manager Greg Murray.
Greg Murray.
I do that every month. I call you Gary.
Not every month.
Okay. With the newspaper, Lynn Martin, Mayor Arden Chafee, and City Manager Joe Don Dunham.
Neil Henderson was here.
He was at the wrong meeting.
Oh.
Item 4 is to approve or disapprove the minutes of the previous meeting. Should be one change, should be Mark Lale instead of Gary Lale on paragraph 5.
I'd move we approve the minutes with the change that Chairman Baker made on the name of Gary Mark.
Second that.
Okay.
Corey, would you call the roll?
Turner?
Yes.
Lale?
Yes.
Okay.
And item 5 is a new one, City Council report. Gary, you're on the City Council. You're the representative.
Is it blindside?
Are you blindsided?
Yeah.
This is put in here to improve communication between the City Council and the Airport Board, and I believe there's other boards doing the same thing. It's not targeted to the Airport Board, but all the boards of the city. This is designed to get communication.
Okay.
So it's just a time that we take that if you know of anything that the City Council is doing or talking about that the airport should be aware of, you're supposed to report to this board.
Okay. I know Joe Don made some comment that it was getting still underway of getting it all approved. There.
Yes, that is correct. We're still working with FAA and Myers Engineering to get our approaches approved, and it's all at FAA right now.
Actually, I have an update on that.
Okay.
Our report.
Good.
Okay, anything else?
Not that I know of.
If not, we'll go to item 6, Manager's report.
Okay. Fuel sales were holding steady. Last month, sales were $18,682.36. About the instrument approach, I looked at the FAA AGIS website today, and I noticed that the survey was not approved. I tried to contact Kyle Sewell with Myers Engineering, but I wasn't able to reach him today. I don't know why it wasn't approved.
Yeah. I wonder why that wouldn't notify us.
It's probably some discrepancy or something in that.
No, but I mean, I would think instead of having to go to the website to find out, they would notify.
Yeah, if I hadn't gone to the
No,
website
the
today.
way we find out about what's happening is monitoring that website.
Oh my.
They don't call us and let us know, or they don't call the engineers and let them know. We have to monitor that website, and that's the way we've been monitoring our progress.
In my opinion, that's poor.
I would agree.
Yeah, I'm going to,
I realize you monitored it.
yes, I wanted to know. I have been monitoring it because, as Jordan said, that's the only way we know. Myers doesn't call me or anything.
I mean, that's the way Myers gets their updates on it, is through that
I see.
website, and then they have to contact the FAA to see what the discrepancies are. And if there are discrepancies, now I know earlier, last month, when I was checking on it, evidently FAA had some stuff posted wrong on that website, in that we had not submitted we still had documents out not submitted, and I got in an argument over with FAA that we had submitted them, and that, because I had documentation that we'd submitted them, and we eventually got that worked out, but we need to follow up on this tomorrow.
You bet.
Be the squeaky wheel.
You bet. The rest of it, instead of just reading it all, I'll just let you guys read it, and if you see if you have any questions over anything.
The mechanic hasn't ever made it out here to look at it yet.
Not
Trust
since
me.
the first of the year, he has not.
But
It's
since last-
running where I can use it. I mean, it's not perfect.
Right.
It still runs pretty rough.
But had he made it since the last meeting?
No.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
No.
Have you checked with him? It'd probably be easier for him if you took it to him.
Well, I'm having an issue with the pump, so I kind of wanted to wait until I got that fixed. Double Check come out and looked at the pump, and they said the computer needs to be replaced on it, and some O-rings in the pump. So if it goes down, I want to have something
Right.
I can self-fuel
You got-
with before I get
it's your backup until we get the main
the
pump
truck.
running.
He was supposed to come in this week to find out when they can come back out and do all this, because they want to do it all at once. Which I guess it's pretty involved to get the pump out of the tank.
And then we've got a helicopter flying north of town, and you're selling fuel to them,
Electric, they're putting an electric line into Woodward
and they should be here through the summer.
through August, I believe he said was their estimated completion date. They're coming in every couple of days. They don't come in on a weekend, but 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, so you've been schmoozing them to keep their business.
You bet. I wish we had a place to put their helicopters, and they would hangar it here. They've actually called to try to hangar it here.
Oh, they want a hangar here?
They would like to. I guess they're basing it in Woodward right now.
Can we reshuffle some stuff, or?
The ground top is totally full. I've got 6 airplanes in there. I sent them to Dale Logston, his hangar down here, but he's got a lot of airplanes in there right now. But I imagine when he opens up a little bit, you can get them in
Well,
there.
I'd like to get it based here. I've done it before.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to them?
Where would I put them?
In my hangar.
In your hangar? Okay. I will tell them next
I mean,
time.
I did it before for the seismograph people, and they bought a lot of fuel here.
Yeah, they did. I'll let them know.
Yeah, because if they're working north of Alva,
Mhm.
it makes sense for them to keep it at Alva versus Woodward.
Well,
Yeah,
the
let's-
crew is staying here in Alva. That comes to buy fuel at the hotel.
Okay, so they're taking it to Woodward every night?
I don't know where they fuel their airplane, because he puts it in a truck. The fuel, he's got a tank on the back,
Yeah.
kind of like Trans-Aero would be.
Right.
But I don't know whether.
Give them a holler. Let's see if we can't get them here.
You bet.
We need to get those guys here.
I didn't realize you would be interested in having one in your hangar.
Anything else on your report? Okay, let's go to item 7, discuss some possible action on the carport / fuel truck storage. We've looked at this in the past. Let's, Greg, if you could go back and tell everybody what the dimensions are and the design of this building. It's been looked at several different times, and we need to bring the board all up to speed as to where we're at. And
Harry brought me this.
I believe one of the
Paul's worked on. And I've got a copy of the ones that we sent out for bid. If you want to see that, what size that means.
So we're looking at a 40 by 30.
It was, the one we sent out for bid was 48 feet long, 40 feet wide, and 14 foot tall, enclosed on 3 sides.
48 by 40, and how tall? 14?
14 feet.
And you need the 14 for the fuel truck?
I don't know, as it would need to be that high.
Well, tomorrow let's measure that and see,
I'm thinking probably 12 foot would be plenty tall enough.
because the higher it is, the more light you're going to get from the one side.
Sure. And I did measure the length on the Jet A truck, and it's approximately 32 feet, which is the longest vehicle that we'd want to park in there. I don't know if you would want more overhang.
Well, you need some overhang since it's going to be open,
Right.
and it has
I
to be
think
open
that's
to be
probably-
legal.
I think that's probably why we figured 40 feet,
Yeah.
because that would give you about 4 feet on each end. Yeah, this is pretty much the dimensions that we sent out for bid, except for the 14 foot tall. And it may have been 12 feet tall too. Actually, it says 14. And it has a list of the bids that we got back on there. But this was for 3 sides enclosed also. I believe a previous estimate we got back from Erickson Steel was for $12 a square feet, not enclosed.
So Erickson's at $26,000 without gutters and without an interior ceiling sheet, which you were looking at for birds, but that's a lot of money for birds. Terry, you got any ideas?
Not any new ones.
But you like that building?
The top one there, where it says $14,000. May not be quite long enough.
Well, 40 by 30, then 2 feet of the truck's going to hang out.
So we need to add on to the 30, but my opinion on one is, like I've said before, something that'll take a snow load, something that'll cover them, and we talked at that one meeting about having the west side closed in. If we do that, we limit where we can put it. I understood we could either put it along here or down there, or one time somebody said something about putting it where we park the cars at the present time. But I think the location will have some effect on if we're going to have one side for, say, a windbreak or, weather break. But in my opinion, a carport type one is stronger than what we saw locally that collapsed.
Mm-hmm. A red iron building.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying we need to go to the 40 by 48?
That would be fine with me. I mean, that was the dimensions that we had at one time. I think on the original bids. What's your opinion? You handle vehicles.
It's 40 foot wide would give you 10 feet bays for each vehicle.
That'd be pretty close.
That's what I wonder about, opening the doors, if they're going to bump the other vehicles or not. If that's, 40 feet is wide enough, but where you would go 48 feet, that would give you 12 feet for each bay, which should be plenty. You should be able to open doors up without bumping.
A lot of places use 8-foot wide parking spots. We use 10-foot parking spots so they don't hit doors. I don't think those trucks are much wider than, any 250, 350 type of truck, are they?
It should be 8 foot.
It can't be much bigger to start not fitting on the road. I would think 10 feet should be sufficient,
Okay.
especially since you're really only getting in one side.
So that would be 40 by 40.
Yeah, you could put a truck on each end and the two cars in the middle.
Sure.
And we're already having trouble getting to the budget. You don't want to start increasing the size of it if it's not absolutely necessary, I
Right.
don't think.
With just a 12-foot eve height. So that should get the truck under there.
Price it both ways. Have a price of 40 by 40 and a 40 by 48.
40 by 40. Okay.
Maybe I'd run a tape measure through the windows on those trucks, measure the mirrors, outside edge of the mirrors.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, well, we need to send this out for bid again.
Do we want to go with the 12-foot eave height?
Yeah, but you need to verify that tomorrow.
Okay. And
Do we need emotions for that or not?
No,
We're not doing anything.
Motion on that. If we just all we're doing is you've had some discussion about the size of the building
Mm-hmm.
and that it needs to be rebid.
Okay.
so do you want me to bid this with concrete piers also? Basically like the one that's out here? Because it's set on concrete piers.
Well, there's two different ways they could do it. They're going to put walls on three sides. And sometimes they put a foundation on three sides and bring the tin down and fasten the tin to that curbing or foundation. Another way that they could build it would be to set the red iron on piers and bring the tin down and leave it up off the ground 6 inches. Terry, didn't you have some ideas about that?
No, I don't.
But you just want one side closed, right? That's what or do you want any sides even? You want it totally open?
I think we need to
To
have
begin with.
3 sides.
I mean, you can always add to it later on.
The thing about it, if you have 3 sides, that might have a trash issue.
But the side,
That's true. I hadn't thought of that.
but in those buildings, if you take away the sides, then they're going to have to upgrade the red iron, because the sides is what helps hold the building up. So if you're looking at putting sides on later,
Structure will be overbuilt.
then you're spending, at the end of the day, you're going to have more money spent, because the sides is what holds that building up.
If we go back to the 3 sides, isn't that pretty much what we had bid last time?
Yes.
That was looking at it over budgeted.
Yeah, about 2,000.
Or we eliminate, excuse me.
But if you bring your tent down and say leave it up a foot, then you can get some air through there, and
Trash blowing through.
the
I think
trash.
that's the way we had it bid.
They didn't have it all the way to the ground.
Oh, they didn't. Oh,
I had them bid it with, a foot open at the bottom.
So it's going to set on piers and not have a foundation around it.
That's the way that's the way we originally had it built, bid is to this. If you want to look over that. I'll give you an idea what we originally set it out to bid.
When
It
these
says
bids,
right here, go ahead.
These bids, did they include? I thought they included. We were sheeting the underneath and stuff, the bird prevention stuff. Is that? I don't see
That
it
was
written
that
here.
48.
Oh, okay. So that was part of it.
Okay, this says curb stem wall on 3 enclosed sides. So they're going to pour 88 feet of cement stem wall.
do we need that? I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Well, I like what you're saying about leaving some space on the bottom, or even 2 feet. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, a foot.
Whatever.
Well, that's the way 66 construction bid it as 12-inch open area, 6-inch high stem wall.
Haven't bid it both ways.
I'm not sure what.
Boy, he was 32,000, 33. Could we have them bid? I'm thinking if
But this,
if it comes in this high, then we don't have that. We don't have enough money to do that. Could we have them bid it both ways,
Yeah, so haven't bid it both ways.
with the sides and without the sides, just in case?
Well,
Or what do you
originally
think?
it was bid with 88 feet of cement.
Well, that'd make quite a difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
so haven't bid it setting on cement piers.
Let's see.
Terry, can you bring me a sheet like this so I'll know
If you had
exactly
no,
what
if you
this
had no
is for bid?
walls, if you had it just come down
I'd,
one sheet down on the sides, and then put them rods with turnbuckles to tie the sides.
I would
ends
really have to
together.
do it wrong.
Wouldn't that strengthen it?
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever.
I got two different sizes.
Just have one
but
sheet of tin around the
You
bottom
know you
of
want
the
it on a
roof,
cement pier.
and then have them X rods,
Oh.
turnbuckles
But they still build more structure
three
into it.
sides.
still.
That's what FM's going to tell you.
On
He's-
piers.
I mean, every builder tells you that.
I'll go over it with you tomorrow if you want, but I mean, as far as the way I understand what
This says from
we're gonna do is we're gonna go in for bids on a building with 3 sides with a 1 foot space on the sides and on piers. Is that correct? Is there anything else that you need to know? The height, we were gonna check and make sure the 12 foot would clear the,
Yeah, if
Yeah.
10 foot will clear, then we can just go
oh, and
with 10
12
foot.
will work. Okay. And any other questions on that that you can think of?
I think Greg's ready to go to work.
I think that's it.
Ready to go? Good.
Everybody happy? Item 8, discuss and recommend to City Council the mayor sign consulting agreement with Keystone Engineering. Mayor, could you bring us up to date as to what this is?
I have no,
You tell me, Keith.
I can't.
I bet you don't, Ken.
I saw it on the agenda though, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Garber Engineering is recommending that the Alva Airport Board and the City of Alva retain the services of Keystone Engineering. This agreement will be relating to the regional airport's taxiway extension project, which is the new T-hangar area that we're prepping for our next project, FAA project. It is a reimbursable. This is a reimbursable expense from FAA. Although we will be out the upfront money, we'll pay it and then have to get reimbursed for it at a later date. This agreement has been reviewed by both Garber Engineering and city staff and submitted to Keystone Energy for their signature. They're going to be retained to perform a topographical survey associated with the T-hangar access run taxi lane project. The cost for this service is going to be $6,020, and will be completed within 5 weeks from the notice to proceed. Like I said, this contract has been submitted to Keystone for signature. Upon this board's approval and the city receiving the signed copy back from Keystone, it will be put on the council agenda for them to approve it for the mayor to sign. But basically, it's topographical surveying for the new runway taxi lane extensions for the T-hangars that we're constructing south.
So this is for us, so we get the money to do the construction for new T-hangars.
It's the preliminary work for the taxiway extension that we will be doing for the new T-hangars we're going to erect.
Because we have to cross that drainage ditch.
Right.
So that's what they're surveying, is crossing the drainage ditch.
In any other surveying that they're going to be required to do for that project.
How is that whole project coming? Timeline? I've had some pilots ask me.
Right now, the date that we're looking at for the completion of this project is late June, early July.
Can we do the dirt work?
That's my understanding.
Wow.
We're going to have all this work done, and because that's the reason we've put off the T-hangar build.
Right,
Is to get this part of it done first,
right.
and then we can do the T-hangar and everything all together. Now, some things may change depending on this topographical survey.
No.
May delay that a little bit, but that's the time frame
Excellent,
that's the time frame that I was given the last time Garver and I met.
excellent.
And that, in my opinion, is what the item consists of.
You've covered yourself very well, Barry. Okay, we need a recommendation to do this.
I'd make a motion to, how do we phrase that? Do we agree to the agreement, to sign the agreement?
Yeah, you make a recommendation to.
I make a motion to make a recommendation to the mayor to sign
Yeah,
the agreement with Keystone Engineering for the surveying of the taxiway to the new T-hanger project.
I'll second that.
Versus, put in there for $6,020.
Council approval.
Okay.
And it'll require council approval.
well, that's what they're doing. They're recommending to the council that you sign the.
You know, I forgot on that building, if we'd want a couple of opaque panels to let a little more light in. I'm getting out of sequence here. But I just had a thought strike me and back to the carport. One time somebody mentioned opaque panels to let more light in.
We're trying to get rid of the lights so our cars don't fade.
Well, okay.
And those panels may keep out the UV, something you could ask. You know, we just need to keep the UVs off the plastics and keep the cars from heating up and
I had
destroying
them on my building and it helped. a little.
We have, and we're trying to fix it right now, a lot of problems with it sweating because of the thermal difference between the panels and the skylights. That's what they always get condensation on them and drip a lot. I think I would probably recommend against that.
I'd say I had
We
mine,
always have. It's not that just the building's old. It's been that way forever.
I had mine on the sidewall.
Okay, that would probably fix that too. So
But
we're taking
what-
ours out.
But anyway, whatever. Oh, sorry.
No, no.
Survey.
So is that a no skylights?
Taxiway.
I guess not.
Okay.
Oh, we had to vote on the motion. Sorry.
Motion, second, need to call roll.
Okay. And that is on topic 8. Okay, on approving the Keystone Agreement, Turner,
Yes.
Lael,
Yes.
yes for Washburn. And that'll do it. Okay.
Okay. Item 9 would be same verbiage. Discuss and recommend to the city council and the mayor. Did you know about this one?
Oh, absolutely. Good on.
Agreement with Red Rock Consulting.
Yeah, this relates back to the same project for the extension of the taxiway for the T-hangers. And what Red Rock Consulting will be doing is the geotechnical surveys for the where we're going to be extending our taxiway. And the cost of this service is going to be is going to be $7,700. It is a reimbursable FAA expense.
What kind of timeline do
We don't have the time. We have
to get our money back? That was the question.
Well, to get our money back, that will be. I'm going to be hesitant to give a firm timeline on that today, just because we are still entangled with FAA on a few other things. Garver is assured us that because the other project is held up in FAA, and we've done our part, to at least to date, that we're not going to be penalized on this project. But Garver's not writing those reimbursement checks, FAA is, so I'm hesitant to give a timeline on that as far as reimbursement.
But in a normal world, 6 months, 2 years?
In a normal world, we reimbursement is 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
After you're finished.
After we've submitted the expense.
Oh, so the whole project doesn't have to be completed?
No,
just
the
that
whole
portion.
project doesn't
Okay.
have to be complete.
Okay.
We submit claims monthly to FAA. So we would expend it and then submit the claim, and after the claim has been submitted, 4 to 6 weeks we get reimbursed.
And what are they doing?
They're doing the geotechnical, drilling holes down in the soil to make sure that it's going to be not going to need to be any additional soil work done before the concrete is put down.
Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the mayor and city council that we sign the agreement with Red Rock Consulting at a cost of $7,700.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, Turner,
Yes.
Lael,
Yes.
Washburn, yes. Okay, passes.
Item 10, remarks and inquiries by airport board members. Any discussion from our group?
No.
Item 11, remarks and inquiries by citizens guests.
I guess that would be me. I'll bring up a couple of different things. One, about around mid-December, I got a certified letter from Sandridge, and they're wanting to drill another well out here in the same area as where the first well is. They had offered us $10,000 in surface damage compensation. That is the same amount that they paid for the first well. I knew prices had kind of changed a little bit, so I consulted Bob because I know he's got a better pulse on that than I do. And Bob at the time had recommended us counter offer them back at $15,000, so I did, and they accepted that.
Very good.
After later discussions with Bob, we probably should told him as quick as they accepted it, we probably should have went higher. But hindsight being 20/20, that's what it is. We got so that paperwork has been approved at the council, and it's been submitted to Sandridge. So everything's been signed off and sent into Sandridge. So I would expect a check in the near future for that.
That was 15,000.
15,000, yes. The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is, about 3 or maybe 4 months ago, I approached the board about the annexation of the airport. There were a couple of questions. One about FAA's response and FAA's concern. If the FAA would have any concerns about that, I can't get FAA to give me a direct answer, but from the answers I'm getting from other people I have talked with, is that FAA would look favorably upon the airport being annexed into the city limits for several reasons. One of them being the construction of buildings on the property gives you another layer of oversight on what's constructed, meaning you're gonna have to, you're gonna have the city inspector out here inspecting a building when it's constructed. There's several things along with that go along with it. So they would look favorably upon being annexed into the city, from what I've been able to gather from 2 or 3 other sources. And then also, if we annexed in the airport, it would also allow us to leverage that property with other properties to get some other interest that the city's looking at annexed in, because of the number of acreages, the number of acres that we would have. We would have well over the 51%. From the rough numbers I've been able to put together. To get a more definitive answer on that, I've hired Taylor and Associates out of Woodward to come in and do a survey over the areas that I think the city would like to get annexed in to the city limits, to get a firm grasp on those numbers. And I just kind of wanted to be the one that brought that to the board again and said, hey, here's kind of what we're looking at. It's not going to affect what the airport does, but it would certainly be a benefit to the city for the annexation to get completed.
Well, the town is definitely moving east and south.
Right.
The CNG station, construction should start on it just in the next couple of weeks.
Over on the east side.
Across the highway.
That's
Excellent.
good news.
Good.
And part of this annexation would include properties on the east side of the highway.
The 51% gives you an override on people that are against being annexed.
Well, what the
Is that the point?
51% is that the city can annex anything that it deems it needs to annex, but there's two methods to do it. One is with consent, and one is, of course, is without consent. If it is done without consent, then the city has to have a plan of the development, the extension of water and sewer lines and police and fire services to service those areas within the next 10 years. If we have it if we do it with the consent of at least 51% of the property owners in total acreage, then that plan is worked out with the timeline on that plan for extension of services is worked out with those property owners. So I mean, we're not held to the plan prior to the extension. We can do it as we grow.
That's it. So that would be an advantage.
It'd be an advantage. I mean, and as far as servicing out here along the highway, we've pretty much got it. We've got water and sewer lines run. We've got the, for the most part, we've got it pretty well covered out this way. It's not any extension of lines are certainly going to be a cost to the city, but I don't think would be an abnormal burden to the city at this time. The issues that I do see with annexation of the areas that we're talking about is taking over the street maintenance. Right now, some of these streets are maintained by the county. Some of these roads out here would be maintained by the county, and it's then our responsibility to maintain those roads.
How much are we going to annex? Or are you wanting to annex?
As far as the airport is concerned, be the entire airport. I think there is 640 acres out here.
There's more than that.
Yeah, 800.
840.
That wasn't what I found at the courthouse.
Yeah, it's 800.
That wasn't that wasn't the records that I had. I could put my fingers on at the courthouse. It totaled around 640 or something like that for this section.
Well, on the next section south, we have 200 acres in the next section south.
Okay. I don't guess I wasn't trying to include that in what was the. This would just be what
That was what they acquired.
what we had here in this
In
section,
runway, right?
down to the property, down to the section line, and
Okay.
over and up.
So part of our runway is not going to be in the city limits.
No. What I've got mapped out, the entire airport is going to be. I'm just saying the numbers you got and the numbers I got aren't the same. I need to, that's part of the reason.
You got a map?
It's not. We're going to extend this over here and square it up right there.
Well, but
That's not
this
mapped.
this isn't airport property here.
Okay.
Yeah, the airport is like that.
Okay.
See, here's the
And
640.
depending on what the survey comes in at, we've talked about coming all the way over to here, straight back here to Oklahoma Boulevard.
Okay. But yeah, that is not airport property.
That would be fine. I mean but that's what I've told Taylor and Associates to survey. From this point here
Mhm.
to the end of the airport property, over to Skyline, up to Oklahoma. And depending on what the acreage comes in at, total acreage, we may scale that back some. But I won't know that until I get the survey report back in from Taylor and Associates.
Mhm. Okay.
And those would be the only report items that I would have for the board right now.
And we could get the two items that the board passed this evening on the next city council agenda.
Depending if we get the signed survey back, the signed contracts back from Keystone and Red Rock. They have been sent, but I have not received them back as of today's mail. So depending on when those get back, it'll just be a matter of us getting on the next available council meeting.
Anything else? If not, this meeting is adjourned.